So welcome to the Fall 2017 ATD-OER Degree Community Meeting. This is Una Daly, the Director of CCC-OER, and I'm excited to be here with you. We've got Richard and Fran as well, and I think a lot of us are very excited about the conference that we're going to next week. And so we're going to have a little bit of a preview around that, along with some other really good news items and upcoming dates. So here we are. And I want to thank everyone for coming this morning. I know this is a really busy time. A number of you are coming in a few minutes late, and a number of you have to leave a little bit early. So that made it kind of interesting for scheduling folks to talk, but we'll do the best we can here. And I invite you to introduce yourself in the chat window there. You should see the chat window down on the right-hand side of your, I guess, your toolbar. And if you want to say who you are and you know, what college you're with, I think probably many of you know each other, but not all. And Richard and Fran, I think we're going to turn this over to you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. I think we're going to turn this over to you for, oh, I'm sorry, I've got to give you the agenda here. So first of all, we've got some great updates from Achieving the Dream around different news and events that are coming up. Then we're going to talk just a little bit about some of the new collaborative tools that we're starting with this fall. And then we're going to go right into those open education conference previews. And thank you so much to all of you who sent me slides or sent me information about your presentation. This is just kind of a way to warm up. And for those of you who might not be attending next week, you might also want to check in with these folks later, get their slides and so forth, because I think there's going to be some wonderful presentations there. And then we're going to talk real quickly about Spring 2018 conferences. We have a number of panels that are focused on the OER degrees, and those deadlines are coming up quite soon. So if you want to jump on some of those, it's a good time to check that out as well. And then it's really open discussion time at the end for whatever topics you want to bring up and discuss with the rest of the folks on the OER degree initiative. So any questions before we get started? Alrighty. Well, please feel free to type in the chat window at any time, and I'm gonna let Richard and Fran take it from here.
Hi, good morning. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. It is really incredibly hard to believe that it is October already, but especially since here in Richmond where it's fairly warm today. But thanks for being here. I just want to update you on a few things that are happening that you might not have heard of. We can catch up on any of them at the Open Ed conference if you're going to be there, or you can get in touch with me. But the first thing that you should know is that we are our 2018 OER Degree Initiative Summit, which would be our last kind of official summit for the grant initiative, is going to be April 3rd through 5th in Miami. And so we'll be sitting out, we're still working on hotels and all those kind of logistics, but at least you can get it on your calendar. We'd like to encourage you and as many folks from your team, as particularly your higher level administrator folks, if you can get, persuade your your president or chancellor to come along with you, that would be great as well. We're also including this go around, kind of invite some non-grantees for about a day of the summit to share, basically to kind of start building out our community a bit. There's a lot of institutions that applied to be in the grant that weren't included but continue to work on their OER degree programs, and so we want to kind of bring some folks in to learn from each other. So we'll release those details as we kind of get the agenda hammered out and hotels and all that, but be sure to get it on your calendar. And if you don't already, there's another event. I know many of you go to this because your institutions are part of the ATD network, but it's our big ATD conference, Dream Conference in February in Nashville. Many of you have submitted proposals, which I really thank you. I'm really hoping to get some more presentations on our OER degree initiative to just promote awareness among some of the other network colleges. But it's a great conference. It's really, it really is a great conference. It's very focused on data and teaching and learning, and it's pretty large. But over 2,000 people usually come, but it's really worth it if you can make it. So there's that. You may have heard that the Affordable College Textbook Act was reintroduced. I think this is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's like the 6th time or something that they've brought it up, the legislation in Congress. Main sponsor is Dick Durbin for the College Textbook Act. Again, it's it's again there is some interest at the congressional level, the federal level, in OER as a cost savings measure. ATD did a presentation at the invitation of Senator Durbin. When was that? It was several weeks ago. So we actually came to kind of brief some of the staff in Congress on this initiative, and had 2 of our grantee presidents, the president at Odessa College and the president at Bunker Hill Community College. And we got a really pretty good turnout and great questions. So folks stayed until the like 4:30 in the afternoon, hung around and asked questions. We had to cut them off. So it was really encouraging that there's that level of interest there in Congress. Additionally, the U.S. Department of Education is working on some language to support open educational resources. I was able to attend an OER symposium on the 21st, where we talked about a report to Congress as well, kind of generating a report on kind of the landscape of open educational resources and making recommendations as well. So that's all really encouraging, just because the more interest there is at that level and at the state levels, we start to kind of see some more activity, and I don't know, makes it sometimes makes it a little easier to start some initiatives and to share some of this work. So all of that's good stuff. The final bullet on the slide in front of you is the ATD initiative was nominated for a Bellwether Award. I don't know if you've heard of that before. It's I think it's the University of Florida is the sponsor for it. And basically you get, I guess the process is you get nominated, or there's one level of nomination, then you actually apply, and there you attend the conference, which is in January, I believe, and then you find out if you've won. So I will be reaching out to some colleges, and you're welcome to contact me if you're interested just in maybe partnering on the application. I'd like to get at least a couple of colleges to be part of the application, which at least seems pretty straightforward, except for they ask for a video submission. But anyway, it's nice to be recognized, and I'm going to move forward with the application, hopefully with partnering with some colleges to get that in, see what happens, and see who anyone who wants to attend the award. I don't know if it's a banquet or a ceremony, whatever, in Florida in January. But anyway, that's good stuff. It's good to be recognized in that way. And the nominations are anonymous, so I'm not sure who nominated us. Oops. Go on, can you go back? I think there we go, that's fine. Okay, sorry about that. Slides are a little jumpy. I know Una's, the CCCOER has some webinars coming up. ATD's got a couple of webinars that we're gonna do as well. There's one on October 27th I'm sorry, October 26th, promoting your OER degree programs internally. And then and about a month later, securing faculty engagement and supporting faculty in your OER degree project. And this came out of our conversations with you that we've been having really with all the grantees over the summer since you've submitted your annual reports. We've checked in with almost all of the colleges now. We've got a few stragglers to catch up with, but for the most part, we've caught up with you and heard a lot of, got a lot of great information. One of the things we heard is that for the most part, the grantees are this fall just really now starting to focus on promotion of their OER degree programs. You know, I think maybe institutions got off to a little slower start than they anticipated for a number of reasons, but this was a pretty consistent thing that you reported to us is that you haven't really done much of that, but you're really wanting to do that. Now, some institutions have been doing a really good job of develop communication plans and have been promoting their programs, so we're going to kind of tap into their expertise. They're going to share with you from a couple of institutions kind of how they've done it, just to help the institutions that are just starting this to kind of use some of their, if they want, some of their practices. And then on the 29th, securing faculty engagement, supporting faculty. Again, another really important piece, and you know, a kind of topic that arose out of our conversations with you guys, with the grantees, on our calls about getting faculty support. Oftentimes beyond that kind of core faculty that initially engaged in the degree project, but kind of spreading out a little bit to kind of convincing some additional faculty. So that's what we got. Hopefully they will be helpful to you guys. And so get them on your calendar. We'll send out links and everything for you soon. And I forgot to mention, Fran cannot be here today. She's at our integrated student support what is it, summit, I guess, in New Orleans this week. And so she's unable to make it today. So a couple of things for you guys. Another thing that you asked for is, thank you, is a kind of calendar for deadlines and upcoming kind of submissions and due dates and things like that. So I have put that together for you. I'm going to share it out. It's going to be in a Google Calendar that you can use. It's going to have, our dates, the dates of our partners, events, upcoming events. But in the meantime, just to let you know, Lumen has these two deadlines for course mapping. So March 15th, for fall 2018 courses is the deadline, and that's for faculty members who are off contract for the summer. So the reason for that is there's oftentimes back and forth with feedback about the course, and so the faculty needs to be around to be able to respond to that. So if the faculty is off for the summer, then they need to get those in earlier. If the faculty member is going to be there during the summer and can be in communication, then the deadline's a few months later, June 15th. So, and please try to get your course mapping in by the deadline, and also, as much as you can, respond when the courses do come back from I think Giselle was doing most of them at Lumen. Try to get those responses back, because we're starting to see a considerable bottleneck of courses, since most of the courses are being submitted this term. So they're facing a huge kind of tidal wave of courses, and so the quicker you can get, do a good job of getting those course maps in, making sure they're complete when you submit them, and then if there is some feedback, trying to get the faculty member to respond, sooner than later is really helpful as we try to move forward with getting these verified. Stay there. All right. So now for due dates for data collection for SRI and RPK group, there's a chart for you. So you can see generally the different levels of data collection. So there's section level data, student level data, and then cost study data. And there's the due dates for those. And again, I'm putting those all into a Google Calendar, and we'll share those with you. But hopefully that's helpful in kind of planning these data submissions. And you know, as things get busy during the term, at least you'll have a little bit of advance notice of when these things are going to be due. I think you have a copy of these slides, so there you go. That's all I have at the moment. But anyway, if you have any questions, you know how to get in touch with me. Feel free to email or call if you need to. And
will you be able to stay on, Richard?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on.
Okay, super. All right, thank you. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I want to talk about collaborative tools. And so we have created the new group email list, and we have about, I think, 88 folks on it now. If you have other people that you want to have added from your teams, you can share the link. That's the bit.ly link there, or you can simply email me, and I'm happy to add them. And then I want to just talk about a couple of other things here. We have case studies, which we are doing with all of the grantee colleges. And so if you haven't done that case study with us yet, please consider it. It's a fairly short template, 5 or 6 questions, roughly about 1,000 words. It's really as creative as you want to be, and how much you know, videos or images, surveys, results that you want to share. But we'd love to get some more up there. I know I've got a couple coming in from California over the next couple months. So we'd like all of those. Let's see. So do contact me if you want to get started on that case study. I shared the link to the template earlier, and I'll do that again. These webinars are the CCC-OER webinars, quite complementary to Achieving the Dream. Of course, we've had OER degrees mentioned at OER degrees and OER pathways mentioned at our September webinars. We had the Minnesota OER coordinator, the statewide coordinator, join us September 13th to talk about the work at her college and also the statewide work. And she mentioned, this was Karen Pikula, and she mentioned also the Z degrees that were going on at Northwestern Technical and in the Distance Minnesota Consortium. So that was exciting to hear about. And then last week we had the faculty and librarians. That was a Michigan, kind of a tour de force from Michigan, but they are also working on Z degree pathways there as well. They, many of them, I would say, well, several of them at any rate, did apply for the Achieve the Dream program and didn't get that, but they're continuing on. So lots of good news out there. And you can see the rest of the events that are planned throughout the fall, and you're, of course, welcome to attend those as well. And particularly, I will mention the one on December 6th is Adjunct Faculty Essential Role in OER Adoption. And we have somebody, from Achieve the Dream, John Iuzzini, who runs a program at Achieve the Dream around adjunct faculty. And he's going to be working with a number of your colleges to talk about adjunct faculty and OER degree development. So you won't want to miss that one.
And Una, if I can say, he'll also be presenting at Open Ed. We're going to kind of run the same topic, but he's going to be there as well.
Exactly. He and Richard are presenting on this same topic at Open Ed. The only difference with the December one will be that we will actually have some colleges that will also participate. So exciting, yes. Thank you for that. So fall conferences, I think you've probably seen this list. You might be getting a little tired of it as it trots around the email list. Open Ed 17 obviously is next week. And, you know, at last count, I think we have 15 presentations, and I might be short, of just college grantees. This doesn't include, you know, the ones that are being done by Achieve the Dream. Fran and Richard have quite a few as well. So there's really going to be a lot going on for OER degrees and, of course, open ed in general. I mentioned a couple other ones. AACC eLearn is in Vancouver. We have some folks from the Washington State OER degree program going up there. So we have Lake Washington Technical Institute is going up there to present on their OER degrees with Pierce College District. So that should be a really fun one, and we might get a chance to have them reprise that at one of our later in the year webinars. Open Access Week is coming up. It's the week of, let me make sure I get this correct, October 23rd through 27th. And this is a great opportunity for you to start promoting OER, your OER degree on campus. If you go to that website, there's things you can download, PowerPoint slide templates for putting together presentations. There's posters. So there's ways to use this to create some internal buzz at your campus. WCET is coming up in November, another great another great educational technology focused conference. And I know Fran is presenting, I think, on equity at that one. The complete, Fran Carpenter, and the complete list is at the fall, is at this little bit.ly here. So check those out if you're curious about those. So I went through the schedule, the open ed schedule, and I might have missed some things. There's about 20 tracks. And what I was hoping to do was find out the tracks where all of you had presented in. And I came up with about 10 of them. So the really fun thing is that the OER degrees are really well represented at the Open Ed conference in just like at least half the tracks. And this conference is exceptional in the fact that there are so many tracks and so many different approaches you can take. And now I want to turn it over for the folks that I was able to reach out to and in the last week and ask them to tell you a little bit about what they're presenting on at Open Ed. And so first up is Edie Erickson. She's an instructional designer at Bay College. Edie, I'm going to go ahead and move to your slide, okay?
Got it. Can you hear me? I've been having some audio issue today.
Yeah, you're a little light, but we can hear you.
Okay. So I'm basically going to be focusing on Google Apps and the ones that we've used to develop our OER degree. We just launched our Associate of Arts degree completely OER this fall, so that's been really exciting for us. So I'm going to talk about how we're using Google Docs to collaborate on our OER textbooks that our instructors are working on, and also how we've worked on our course plans with Google Sheets. And I'm also going to be sharing some of the actual technical details of how you can harness those tools to make OER a lot easier and less cumbersome for the instructors. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things. It's a table session, so I'm hoping to be able to be really flexible with what we talk about. So if there's something in particular you want to talk about with Google, I'd definitely be interested in steering off course if we need to.
Great. Is that all you want to say at this point, Edie?
I don't know. Is there anything else in particular you want me to talk about?
No, that's wonderful.
Okay.
And did anyone have any questions for Edie before we go to our next person?
It will be a table session, so there are going to be two. There's one at 11 and one at 11:30. So if you can't make it to one, you can always try to make it to the other one.
Oh, great. That sounds good. All right, and I want to apologize. This is not in alphabetical order, but a couple of you contacted me. One of you has to leave early and one has to come late, and so it's really all over the map. So next up is Juville Dario Becker from, she's a science professor at Central Virginia Community College. And Juville, are you there?
I'm here.
I'm going to move to the slide about your presentation. I just put this together for you.
We will just show and tell what we have been doing. We are working on 3 degrees, and we are working very hard. That's really all we're going to do.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And Juville, and Juvil and Cynthia and Dr. Muriel Mickles did a case study with us last spring. And so if you want to read more about the 3 degrees that they're doing and all that hard work, you can go to the link that I just put in the chat window, and they're in case studies. All right, I don't know if Tony was able to join today. This is Tony DeFranco. He's the coordinator of Learning Technology Services at Tompkins Cortland. He wasn't sure if he would come, so I said I would put a slide in for him just in case he was available. Tony, are you there? All right, I'm afraid Tony's something higher priority came up, but I wanted to let you know that he and a colleague of his are giving a presentation on Friday at Open Ed. They have the standard 25-minute slot about building and sustaining an OER initiative. So I'm sure that all of us could learn some things from Tony and Tompkins Cortland. Anyone else out there from SUNY who wants to jump in and say anything? Alrighty, now I want to turn it over to Sherilee Kushida, Distance Ed Coordinator at Santa Ana College in California. Are you there, Sherilee?
I am. I had to figure out how to unmute myself here. Okay, can you hear me okay, Una? Yeah.
We can, yeah.
Okay, good. What we're doing is, and I have to thank Annie Knight, she's our OER librarian, and she's the creative one that thought of this really catchy session name of We've Got This, because we're taking a faculty team approach, and we have at our college an OER work group that's made up of faculty members from various disciplines. And so for the ATD, the OER degree, we have a few of us that really put together the OER degree pathway. So we'll be talking about how we have a few main members that help put together the OER pathway, and how we'll be talking about how we selected the courses that are included in the pathway, and of course our OER librarian in locating the materials, how we assist them in doing their course mapping and the SLO-based mapping process. And then, of course, how we collaborate with various campus stakeholders so that we can help promote these OER initiatives through the college, both on the administrative side and on the, I guess you might call it the faculty political side of things. So that's what we'll be discussing.
Thank you, Sherilee. And I've had the pleasure of presenting with Sherilee and her colleagues over the years. They're a longtime OER college, and you can bet that this presentation is really going to have a lot of wonderful information. And just a little pressure here, Sherilee. She's well, not only is she the keynote speaker at this conference, because it's in your hometown, right?
Yes, it's in our backyard. So yeah, we'll have our student panel, and it's our students that are the highlight. So we're really excited, and we've been talking to them, getting them matching shirts. So we're all really excited. They're very excited. Thank you.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Sherilee. All right, next up is Ann Fiddler, the OER librarian at CUNY. Are you there, Ann?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Hello? Oh, you can. Okay. So, yes, I am the OER librarian at CUNY Office of Library Services, and we support all the CUNY colleges, which is a student body of about 500,000 students. So we in New York State are the fortunate recipients of $4 million to develop and institutionalize OER across CUNY. So we have the luxury of developing models for sustainability. So we're going to be we're partnering also with SUNY in our New York State effort. We'll be launching a OER New York State website soon, and you'll probably get a preview next week. So at the first presentation, we're going to be talking in conjunction with SUNY people and University of Maryland, also Kim Thanos, and we'll be talking about ways to institutionalize and sustain this, including program management, course design and refresh, faculty development, content sustainability and development, marketing and communications, technical support, and researching and reporting. So that's a really short, jam-packed session, but on Friday it'll be a little bit longer, and it'll just be myself and Alexis Clifton from OER Services at SUNY and MJ Bishop from University of Maryland System. And we're going to talk a little bit more detail about what we're doing in our systems and how our approaches differ and how we can learn and help one another in these efforts. And I think that's it.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, Anne. And that's exciting to hear that you're going to have a New York State OER website.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. We're haggling over the details. It looks really nice, though, so we're excited to share that out.
Okay, great. Because I know you have a number of individual websites on OER, you know, the OER SUNY, and I think you have an affordable learning one up in SUNY, and CUNY, of course, has things. So, yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah, we're very excited to be there next week.
Thank you. All right, now I want to introduce Samantha Veneruso and Michael Mills from Montgomery College.
Hey, this is Samantha. Mike's not actually able to be here, so it's just me today. We are just presenting on the progress of our current Z degree initiatives, both the ones in the ATD grant, and then we have several internally funded degree grant or degrees that are building on the ATD grant efforts. We're going to talk about the student success and the impact that that our work has had so far, and then just the kinds of strategies that we've used to engage faculty, and then the infrastructure things that we've put in place as a result of the grant. So it's pretty straightforward, and just a general update on what we've been doing at Montgomery College.
Thank you, Samantha. That sounds really interesting, because I was aware of some of your other Z degree efforts through Buddy Muse, who participates quite actively on the CCCOER email list. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to hear about both of those approaches at your college. We do have a case study that Samantha and Michael did for us. Wow, was it this summer?
It was in April, I think.
Sorry, it was in April. You were a springtime one. Sorry.
Right.
My memory is getting worse and worse. Yes, in springtime. So if you want to read about the ATD degrees that they're working on, which is the general studies or the liberal studies, or?
Yeah, general studies. It's 2 pathways, one in English and one in psychology.
Great. Yeah, and I know you manage that department, and of course you're the co-team lead. So yeah, so good stuff. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Janice Kempster, Dean of Distance Education at Pima Community College. And welcome back, Janice, from your vacation.
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Where did you go?
Well, we went up to northern Idaho to do a river trip on the Salmon River.
Oh, wow. Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it's good. So, yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. We actually have 5 presentations at Open Ed and 9 presenters coming from our Pima Online unit at Pima Community College. And, you know, we're a year and a half, obviously, into the grant like everybody else. And it's the first time our group is really getting out there and talking about it. And I'm happy to see that our presenters include faculty and instructional designers who will be at the conference to share what they're doing. So I can highlight those presentations if you want me to, the 5 of them.
You can mention them. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll just mention them. One of them, called Seeds to Flowers, we're really explaining our journey to OER, and then highlighting how we support our faculty through our Center for Learning Technology, which I believe has been the key to our ability to stay on task for the grant and complete what we have. Another session will focus on OER science labs with regional flair, and one of our biology faculty is going to present the work he's done on a Bio 100 course where he adapted an OpenStax book and also created wet labs in an OER style. So he'll be talking about that. Two other faculty are going to provide basically a guide for instructors seeking to transition to OER in first-year composition courses. One of our instructional designers has a session where he's applying the science of gratitude to OER. And then another instructional designer is in a collaborative session where they're talking about basically collaborating with those in the room on ways to move OER forward.
Great. Wow, that's amazing. That sounds really wonderful. So many presentations.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
All right. And next up is Linda Williams from Tidewater College. She's a business professor there. I don't think, usually Linda doesn't need introductions, but Linda, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
All right. So this fall marks the third anniversary of our Bachelor of our Associate of Science in Business Administration. And so really what we're going to talk about in this session is, the Z degree turns 3. So kind of a look back at where we started and where we are now. Some of the things that we did well, some of the things we didn't do well. Hopefully, as I like to say, if I can't be an example, let me be a dire warning to others. And then also, kind of once this project is really now kind of to maturity, what are the challenges at this point? In other words, what I'm hoping is that schools or faculty or administrators who are just beginning down the path that we've taken, we can say, when you get to scale or you begin to really operationalize these Z degrees, there's a whole new set of challenges. So there'll be a little bit of data, and there'll be, some looking backwards and then some looking forward. So hopefully it will be of use, so that somebody can say, well, gosh, when our Z degree turns 3, what do we have to look forward to?
Great. Thank you, Linda. And I do think that's really important to, look out ahead a few years down the line where you are now, but many of the grantees will be in a few years. So that's great. All right. And next up is Carrie Gitz. She's the head librarian at Austin Community College. Carrie?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can. And I'll move the slides for you because I know you've got 2.
I will be co-presenting with Tina Buck, who is a faculty member in the English department, and so she was one of the course reviewers and developers for the Comp 2 or English 1302 class. So you can go to the next slide. And so we're sort of dividing up our presentation, and she's going to talk about sort of her path of discovery in looking at her course materials that she'd been teaching with for close to 30 years, and looking at converting that material into OER and what she had to adopt and adapt, and sort of her process through that. Then she'll explore some of her favorite tools and resources that she discovered in identifying materials for the course. And we're going to just mention something that we sort of discussed over lunch one day, which was the karmic obligation of OER. I don't know if that's a coined phrase or not, but and I'll cover a little bit about just an update of where ACC is with the grant and some of the courses, and then talk about how I supported Tina in discovering resources. And I created, based on the sort of checklist that David Wiley had put together for those of us in the grant, sort of the color-coded chart of what is acceptable, what's in the public domain, and the Creative Commons licenses, how I helped her identify primary resources for her course. And those primary resources were 25 short stories that she was looking to find out if they were either in the public domain or had a Creative Commons license to them. So just talk about a little bit about my support in working directly with her. And then together we did, as one of her student assignments, she had some journal entries where she asked students some anecdotal perceptions of OER and what they liked about it, and what their experience in the past with having to purchase textbooks. And so we'll share some of the comments from the students in her class in both the spring and summer semester. And then I'll just give a brief announcement about the Senate Bill 810, which passed in Texas in June, that is related to OER. And that's it.
Great. Thank you, Carrie. And you know, I think this is a really exciting area because English, as we know, is a tough OER one. And so I think this will be really helpful. And I also love your karmic obligation of OER. That sounds like a good expression for all of us to contemplate a little bit. So thanks for sharing that. All right, last but not least, West Hills College Lemoore, Vera Kennedy. Oh, and I'm sorry, Vera, I'll update this slide. Vera is a sociology professor at West Hills College. And of course, West Hills starts with W, so you guys end up at the end of the list frequently. Vera, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much, Una, for facilitating this meeting. And I'm happy to share with you some of the things that we'll be doing at the Open Ed this year. At first, on Thursday, I'll be doing a couple of roundtable sessions, particularly looking at, the faculty perspective, identifying sources, evaluating quality, redesigning your instructional approach using OER, but then also sharing some of the institutional experiences that we had as far as developing policies through the Academic Senate, working with administration to come up with stipend structures, and things like that. So that'll be quite fun. And I'm doing it twice. So I'm doing it at 9:45 and as well as 10:15. And then on Friday, I'm going to co-present with Mike Miguel. I was originally going to do this with our psychology instructor, Alan Fortune, but he's also the head soccer coach. And it turns out that they're going to have a game on Friday that he cannot miss. So Mike is actually his mentee who started as a student, graduated, and then came back and is now working with us as an adjunct faculty and has took a leadership role with Alan in developing our psychology Z degree. So Mike brings a great perspective of being a student before OER and then becoming a faculty member using OER within the degree. So we're going to talk about some of the research that we got regarding our student feedback. We wanted to hear student voices and what were their experiences using OER and what their challenges were. So the focus of our talk is really going to be about the lessons that we learned from our students and how you have to transform yourself in phases as an instructor, including how to teach students to remix and reuse OER when you're trying to do an engaging environment, learner-centered type approach. So we're looking forward to it. Thanks for letting me share. I hope to see you guys on next week at the Open Ed.
Great. Thank you, Vera. And boy, you're really covering kind of the whole gamut here, faculty, working with administration and students. So, and West Hills really is a role model for, I had the pleasure of visiting you guys last spring and seeing some of the work in action. So thank you. All right. So is there anyone else out there who is presenting this fall and didn't get a mention, or I'd love to let you share right now if you'd like. I know that Florida State College at Jacksonville is doing an OER degree presentation at, I'm going to have to go back and look at the fall conferences. At one of the fall conferences in November. I'm sorry, it's the Online Learning Consortium conference in November. It used to be called the International Conference, and I've forgotten now what it's called. But they're going to be presenting on their OER degree, and it's going to be really exciting. They're going to have a panel of 4 folks, so a librarian, instructional designer, faculty, and administrator, all talking about the different roles that they play. So if others of you are presenting out there, let us know. We'd love to feature you in some way and share what you're going to talk about. So I wanted to go over spring conferences really quickly. Richard, of course, already covered Dream 2018. Oops. E-Learning 208 there really should say 2018. Little typo. We have a number of folks who are interested in and participating in a panel, I believe. I think I'm working with them on it. Joseph Mold from Bay College, Florida State Jacksonville, and I believe Broward College. So we're going to be working on a panel. E-learning is in February, it's in mid-February, and it's in Tucson, Arizona. So nice place to go during those winter months. Just saying. Innovations is the League of Innovation Conference. It's their annual conference. It's in Maryland, and we've got Jean Amaral from CUNY who is leading a panel, and I believe Juville, you are going to participate in that one from Central Virginia Community College, and we had one other person. I think I'm not sure he's online today, but Philip Anaya had said he wanted to participate in that panel. Juville, do you have an update on that panel at all?
Actually, I bailed out on that one. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So
because I have a commitment on the 17th, which is smack in the middle.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I know Jean Amaral from Borough Manhattan was, she had a really exciting idea, and I'll check in with her and see how that's going. And then we had a couple of folks who were interested in the OLC Innovate. That one's in Nashville, Tennessee in April. So if anyone's interested in that one, it's a really fun conference where they do a lot of really interesting, innovative approaches to their sessions. They do different kitchen workshops, and they really make it a lot of fun, and they're very technology focused. And finally, AACC, I heard that the Texas Consortium, so Carrie, this is in your ballpark, and I haven't checked to see who else is online, but I understand you guys are submitting to that one, and San Jacinto, I believe, is the lead on that submission. And I'm sorry, AACC, that's the Association of American Community Colleges, and it's in Dallas, Texas this year. So, and it's at the end of April. And if you're looking for other conferences for spring that you might present at, we've got a bit.ly here. It's gone out on the email list as well. And just contact me if you have any questions about any of those conferences, and I'm happy to connect you with other folks. All right, now this is really an open time for you either to ask Richard questions, me if you have any for me, or to ask questions of each other. Maybe there's some burning question or issue that you've been working on and you'd like to check in with your peers about how they're working on something.
This is for Richard. This is Juville. Richard, Lumen has been very quiet lately. We have submitted several course maps, and they have not really responded to us.
Okay. How long has it been, Jubal?
Actually, since last year. I mean, we submitted, I think, 20 course maps, and I just submitted one last week, and they have approved 11. And so the faculty are just, asking what's happening. Why aren't I contacted so that I can make improvements so I can get it certified?
Okay, I will follow up with them.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for letting me know.
So has anyone figured out how to make a day contain more than 24 hours?
Let's ask the Nobel winners in physics. Maybe they can tell us.
Indeed. All right, sorry, that was a bad joke. Are there any webinar topics or any other topics that you'd like us to cover at community meetings that didn't occur to you last summer but maybe is coming up for you now?
Hi, Una. This is Vera.
Hi, Vera.
I have some topics I'm hoping that we'll start talking about and covering in the future around cultural bias and equity. I've been involved in a few office hours with different groups, and those are like hot topics right now, and we're trying to come up with ideas, innovative approaches, and then also as far as ensuring equitable representation in faculty involvement and things like that. So maybe those are some things we can include in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Our November webinar, the CCC-OER November webinar is around equity and open education, and I'd love to consult with you. So I'll talk to you offline and get some of your feedback on that. We have potential speakers for that one, but I'd love to hear about what's happening at your school and what you're coming up with.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
And let me jump in. This is Richard. I know Fran is really interested in this issue, and so she'd be interested in talking to you possibly as well. And she is presenting on equity and OER at Open Ed as well. So she'd be a good person to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Richard. And Fran is supposed to be one of our speakers in November as well. so it'll be good to get that. Well, are there any, I did actually have a question from Juville yesterday over email about the Open Ed conference, and she asked me, do we have to bring our own laptops? And I can't remember. And when I went to the website, I couldn't find that information. I believe you just need to bring a USB stick, but maybe somebody else who's attended Open Ed many times does remember. Oh, Preston says, yes, we do need to bring a laptop. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess it would be handy for at least one person in your team to have a laptop. And I do have a laptop I can loan. I'm only presenting on Friday. So if you do get stuck, let me know. You can borrow mine. Richard, did you have anything you wanted to share about the unconference on Thursday afternoon at the Open Ed conference? I think it starts, I'm not sure if it's after lunch or after 2 o'clock.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. It's less an unconference and more of a kind of a meetup that we're doing. It is Thursday. I think it's 4:30 till 6. I'll confirm that. But yeah, so we'll be be a place for our grantees to show up and kind of connect, as well as any other interested folks who are interested in talking to you about OER degrees or doing their own degrees that kind of come together, and we'll have a little food there, and we'll do a little hobnobbing and chatting. So it's really informal.
All right, great. Good to hear there'll be food. Linda asked, did we get an email or invite for that?
No, we have to still are confirming with the Open Ed folks, reserving the spot and everything, but we'll send something out and let you know where everything is.
But it's going to be in the hotel, right?
Yeah, it's going to be in the same place where all the sessions are, and just be a room there where we'll gather.
Sounds good. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I think we can let people out a little early. You get 5 minutes back of your day. And I want to thank everyone for coming. We will make this recording available to those who couldn't make it today. And thanks once again to everyone who shared today and got me those slides at the last minute. I really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to seeing those of you who can make it next week to the Open Ed conference, and hope to see the rest of you at other locations soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.